Hello, hello. My name is Liku Amadi, founder and attorney of Anasa Law Firm, where I work with consultants and expert service providers to help them establish a solid legal foundation for their growing business. And today we're talking about this level of business, this next level of business that you have planned, and why legal strategy is required. And before I get into that, quick disclaimer: this is not legal advice. It is legal information for educational purposes only. If you need legal advice, contact a lawyer or me so you can talk to them one-on-one about your specific situation. And second, we have a masterclass coming up on April 28th at 9 a.m. for consultants and experts who are growing their business but can't confidently say that their client contract protects them now in the way that they're doing business and for their next level of growth. If that is you, make sure you register at alfmasterclass.com to secure your seat and get this game-changing legal strategy that will change the way that you look at your business for good. For good. Okay, so let's get into today's topic, which is legal strategy for this level of your business. And this is what I call the feel good approach. Why? Because when something protects you, it's supposed to serve you, right? You're supposed to feel good about it. But because of the way these industries and systems are set up, because of what people believe about lawyers and lawsuits and all the negativity around it, we can never get to that. But business owners should feel good about being protected in their business. And that's just the bottom line, because it's a good thing. It's beneficial. It's something you can leverage. It's something you shouldn't have to worry about because you've taken care of what you need to take care of and have all of your legal ducks in a row, right? You are protected for now and the future. And the feel good approach really speaks to legal strategy, not just legal protection. I talked about legal protection in a previous video, and that is essentially just doing what you're supposed to do, right? Somebody said you're supposed to get an LLC, check the box, right? Somebody said you're supposed to have a contract in place, find it on Google or buy it off a contract template shop, check the box, right? That is just legal protection. You want to make sure that you're not getting in trouble and that you're doing what is required of you. Legal strategy, oh my goodness, legal strategy is so much better. Not only are you protected now for what is going on in your business, but that protection is in alignment with what you have going on in the future, right? That's this level of business for you, or that next level of business for you. So whatever that is over here is usually tied to revenue, right? An increase in revenue, but that looks different for everyone. That could be an increase in clientele, that could be an increase in services, that could be you hiring a team, that could be collaborations and speaking engagements, licensing. It could come a variety of different ways, but the ultimate goal is to increase revenue, which is what all consultants and really all business owners want, right? You want to be able to generate money so you can do what you love and keep the business moving. Protection and your goals to increase revenue. Legal strategy, make sure they're connected. So we're not just talking about decreasing risk and increasing revenue. We are talking about decreasing risk to increase revenue. And there are three things that we need to have in place in order for that to happen. And let me run that back. We're decreasing risk to increase revenue, right? The two can operate independently, but when we're talking about legal strategy, when we're talking about the feel good approach, they operate together, right? So we are going to talk about the three things that you need, which is foundation, foresight, and fortune, because foundation produces foresight and both produce fortune. And we all want to get to the fortune part, but we need to start at the foundation. And the foundation means that you are legally protected in the most important relationship for your business, and that's the one that you have with your clients. What does your client contract look like? Your client contract is that thing that you lay out, that you give to your client to say, hey, this is how we're going to work together. These are the boundaries. These are the requirements. These are the services that we're going to provide. This is what includes and what it doesn't include. This is what's required of you, right? These are the deadlines. These are the policies. And this is how we're going to deliver your service, right? The client contract is your opportunity to lay the expectations that your client is going to follow throughout this client relationship. It is the foundation for your client relationship, not just so your client has a good experience, but so that you too, as a service provider, have a good experience, because not everybody talks about us, right? Not everyone talks about the service provider in the client relationship. The client experience is not just for the client, it's for you too. It's for the entire client relationship, because when everyone is enjoying and benefiting from the experience, that's when you get that top tier service delivered to your clients, and everyone is happy, and it's a win-win situation across the board. So we're starting there with our client contract. One of the most important documents in your business. How does your client contract look? Is it protecting you? Is it covering you the way that you need in your industry, in the way that you run your business, your unique frameworks and methods that you share with your clients? Most of your money generating assets start in this relationship, because it is your client that pays you for services that bring in the revenue, right? That bring in the money that you put out there to invest, or pay your team members, or market and bring in more clients, right? We want to make sure that you are protected in that area. And more importantly, we want to make sure that you avoid things that can be avoided, those things that escalate into bigger issues, those issues that we're scared of, right? Lawsuits, having a lawyer contact you, some type of legal trouble, refunds and chargebacks, right? And that all starts with the client contract, when we need to tighten up communication, boundaries, payment issues, when we need to tighten up deadlines because they become missed or ignored, and when we need to limit what is going on, so we as service providers, so you as a consultant, are not in a position of doing extra work without getting paid, or extending the timeline, which means that you're going into time that could have been time and space for a whole nother client to come in, right? Which is taking money off the table, or doing work without being paid. All of those issues are day-to-day things that happen. Lawsuits don't happen every day, but they are the result of things that happen every day. And any other type of legal trouble or dispute that you get into, these things pile up, and they don't even have to pile up. It can be one little thing that really sends someone over the edge, or makes them bring their lawyer into the conversation, right? So we want to make sure those things at the foundation with our clients are locked in, and we are protected the way that we need to. That is the foundation portion of decreasing risk to increase revenue. Number two, once we have that foundation, we get foresight, right? Foresight means that you're able to see a lot more clearly. You may not notice it, but when you are confused or just unclear about the decisions in your business because they're tied to some legal element, oh, I don't know if I'm protected. Oh, I don't know if I need a contract for that, or oh, I'm not sure if I can do that, or what's a disclaimer? Can I get in trouble, right? Those things stop you from making decisions that move your business forward because you lack clarity, right? And so once that foundation is set, once we do have that clarity and we understand how we're protected and what it means for our business and where we're covered and where we can anticipate where we need to be covered, like we understand that all around holistic protection for our business, we get foresight. It is much more clear as to what we need to do, how we need to do it, and the things that we can do. Right? That's the big part, the things that we can do, because now that we have more clarity, that foresight is opening doors, showing you other avenues, right? That have always been there, but you just haven't been able to see them because the foundation was not on lock and therefore had our vision blurry. but now we can see, right? And that usually looks like you just understanding how you can plan better, how you can leverage your assets better, how you can leverage whatever it is that you're protecting, your signature frameworks, your trademarks, right? The way you facilitate your services with your clients, all of that can be leveraged for more. So you get that clarity and that foresight. And what that produces is number three, fortune, right? Because when you go back to the foresight level, again, you see things that you're able to do. New avenues open up, new doors open up that you already had access to, but now you see how they can work for you, and more particularly how they can work for you and produce additional revenue or whatever that goal is that you're going for without you doing additional work or just some like heavy lifting, right? Because the foundation has already been set. The work has already been done. And this is where monetization for consultants and expert service providers like yourself really comes in, right? Once you're protected, you see what you can do with the things that you've already put together and the business assets, the money generating assets that you already have. That is monetization, right? You're protected, you understand how you can leverage, and then you do so by leveraging. And that can look a whole lot of different ways depending on how you run your business, your interests, your industry, speaking, collaborations, licensing, certification, digital products, extreme delegation in your business, right? It can look a variety of different ways. And so that's what we need when it comes to decreasing risk to increase revenue. That's what we have is a foundation, a solid foundation for the most important relationship in your business, which is the one with your clients and that client contract, which produces foresight so you can see things a lot clearly and know what options are available to you and where you have advantages and where you can leverage, and then deciding on what avenue you want to take. That produces fortune, that produces revenue, that produces growth. That not only makes sure that you get that on that, not only makes sure you get to your next step, but 5 steps beyond that, right? Because now you're able to plan in a way that you hadn't before because you have this strategy on lock, because you have your foundation, because you have the options in your foresight, right? All of that produces that fortune or what you're going for. So let's use a quick example of what this looks like when it's in play. So I have a client, psychological safety consultant, comes to me and they generally work one-on-one with executives in tech, right? Just giving a really broad example here because client confidentiality. They work one-on-one with executives in tech at Fortune 500 companies. And their issue or their worry is, I want to make sure these strategies and materials that I'm sharing with them don't get trickled down to their team, because in the future, what I want to do is record some trainings that their team leaders can use, right? Management level leaders, directors, et cetera, that they can use so that they can have better understandings and examples and just skills and be better equipped for psychological safety circumstances, right, in their business. And so in working with this client and putting this foundation together, right? Because we start with the clients. What are we looking at here? Okay, you have all these materials. How are you currently using them with your clients? Do they have full access to them where they can download and save? Or are they on some type of third-party website where you store the trainings and materials where they can only view, right? How is their access otherwise limited? How long do they have access to these materials for? What is it that made you have this fear or worry that they're kind of just going to trickle down the materials and information to their leaders so they can facilitate this information themselves, right? We get all of that information and really understand, okay, based on that, this is how we need to make sure your client contract is drafted. This is what the intellectual property terms need to state about the materials and the videos that you're using with them, and any worksheets and the frameworks, right? And other than that, right, not just looking at the client relationship, but beyond that too, are you using these materials and strategies anywhere else, right? And how do we need to protect them there? So we make sure that the client contract is the main thing that keeps those things on lock. And once that happens, you can go ahead and do you could go ahead and facilitate those trainings, or I'm sorry, license those trainings out to those managers without you having to physically be there, right? Their executives already have those principles and those teachings that you've provided for them on a one-on-one level, and now the company can license on a monthly or a quarterly basis these materials and these trainings for their lower level leaders or senior leaders, or however that hierarchy works. But that is now available to them without you having to do, without that consultant having to do additional work. Maybe they want to re-record their trainings, or polish something up a bit, but the bulk of the work has already been done. It's already been proven. The clients are already satisfied with it. So now it's just trickling down to another level, right? So when we have that foundation, the protection, you have the foresight as to, okay, this is how I can deliver it to these other managers and leaders in the organizations that are not at the executive level, right? I still have to make sure that I protect it. So I'm going to put it on this platform and they can access it this way. And these are the terms and conditions. These are the limits. These are the boundaries. These are the restrictions, right? You have all that in play. Your foresight lets you see, what options are available to you. And maybe you only want to limit it to 25 various leaders, right? Specific leaders, and not leaders in the whole company. You have those options because you already have that protection on lock, but just make sure you're protected at the foresight level as well. And then that's when the fortune comes, right? So however you want to license, or this person would want to license their trainings, it could be $1,000 per month, right? And this is where this one client, we're talking about one company here, is licensing these materials that you don't have to do a heavier lifting for $1,000 a month. And you see the option, again, going back to foresight, and like, maybe I can go to these other companies that I've already provided services for when it comes to their executive team, and pitch this to them, right? Now you have 5 other clients on the roster who say like, yeah, our leaders could really benefit from this, right? And as a psychological safety consultant, you can say, okay, now that's $1,000 a pop. Now that's $5,000 a month, and $15,000 a quarter for work that you don't have to do because it's already been done, right? Again, not doing any additional work or minimal lifting, right? Not heavy lifting. So that's how it plays out. Foundation produces foresight, and both produce fortune. And that's what comes with legal strategy when you decrease risk, not just to say that you're protected, but in order to reach your increased revenue goals, whatever that looks like for you. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Please let me know in the comments. And again, if you're a consultant or expert service provider, make sure you register for the upcoming master class on April 28th at 9 a.m., alfmasterclass.com, where we will be talking specifically about that foundation, about your client contract, and the 4 things that you need to make sure that you can decrease risk to increase revenue. We're also going to be talking about how you can use your client contract to increase revenue immediately without doing any work. And then we're going to explore those other solutions, right? The contracts that are generated on AI, downloaded from Google, outdated contracts, templates, whatever you're using now to bridge that relationship and be the foundation of that relationship between you and your client. We're going to explore how those are actually hurting your business and not protecting it the way that you intend. So make sure that you register. Again, Monday, April 28th at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's California time. So do the math wherever you are in the time zone, and I will see you there.